plenty of things that we can be thankful for. And then he gets back in bed and the guy still says, I'm struggling. And he doesn't realise throughout the day that he has all of those things to be thankful for. And he gets back in bed and I'm struggling. And I think we can all relate to that at some point in our lives. Yesterday evening, Jan's husband, Lee, was out fishing. And it's pouring with rain, and he's in his little bivvy, and he rarely catches anything, if he catches anything at all. No, bless him.
Still not.
And he was on his own. And it got me thinking, because as we know, Lee's not a Christian, and he's in his bivvy on his own, and you think, you know, like as a Christian, if we were in that situation, at least we always have a friend to talk to. And yet he doesn't know the Lord, and so, you know, I can't imagine life without Jesus, and so we need to pray, obviously, that Lee comes to know the Lord, and so that when he goes fishing, he's not on his own. And he might catch fish because you can pray for him.
Yeah, I asked him that today. I said, Ali is intrigued. What is it? What do you do all day? You know what he said? I mean, among other things, he said, you know what? During the day, the train or whatever, he said, you look around. He said the beauty that is around him just soothes him.
But he can't see the creation behind it.
No, he doesn't know that, but
he will. But he will, praise the Lord.
He'll get there.
So, when Lee goes fishing, that leaves Jan on her own. So I thought go around and keep her company, because Andy Murray was playing tennis, and I thought we could watch tennis, but she told me she didn't have Eurosport. Said, fine, well, we don't need to watch tennis, but actually she does have Eurosport. But Andy Murray wasn't on, to cut a long story short. So we decided that we would do something far better and watch Stephen Furtick on a 2 hours session of watching Stephen Furtick. And he was talking about gratitude and thanksgiving, when I'd already seen it before, which had got me thinking about this evening. And I made loads and loads of notes, and I keep a journal, so I've rewritten them into my journal, and I just want to share some of the things that he said last night, and I've added like my own thoughts to it as well. So one of the things was, we say grace before we eat. Well, we should say grace before we eat. And then once we've ate, we are no longer hungry. But let's all stay hungry for Jesus. The disciples, to give you an example, is that, you know, keep your hunger going for Jesus is a different type of hunger. When I spoke about Jesus at the well at Yarswood, I was given the illustration of the disciples there in their humanness. They were hungry. They needed to go off and get food. But Jesus had a different hunger. He had a hunger to witness to the woman at the well, to save her soul. And even when the disciples came back with the food, when the disciples came back, they said, Jesus, you really must be hungry now. Jesus said, you don't get it. I don't need that food. I'm hungry for the Lord. And that's the hunger we need to take on. Actually, that's not something Stephen Furtick said, but that's by the way. Anyway, one of the things he did say was that happy people are not those with the most. Happy people are those that are the most thankful. And I'm glad 2 people are here tonight, and I'm not going to apologise for embarrassing you, because the Lord's laid this on my heart. The first one is Liz. Whenever Liz prays, she always starts, we say thank you, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And it's just the most amazing prayers that come out of Liz's mouth. And she prays with such enthusiasm, and it's like we say thank you, and it's just a joy to listen to her. As some of you know, obviously Steve's been poorly, and so he couldn't go into Yarswood last Sunday. And to cut a long story short, and as most of you know, Liz and I decided that we could do this service together for the Lord, because he was already in the house. and it was an absolute joy and honour to take that service with those ladies. And Liz was amazing. I don't care, I'm going to say this, Liz, but she really, her prayers were just lovely. And one lady was quite distressed about being inside, and Liz just got up and prayed for her on the spot, and it was beautiful. It was just beautiful. And Liz has a great prayer ministry, but what makes it great is it's not the fact that she's saying, Lord, please pray for my broken toenail or this and that. She's thanking the Lord. We say thank you. She's gone ahead, she's thanking him for things he hasn't even done, but she knows he's going to do. And that is a ministry. It's such an amazing ministry, and it really speaks to my heart. And that's what he's saying. Happy people are not those that have got everything. Happy people are those that are thankful. And that's why we always see Liz most of the time with a smile on her face, because she's thanking the Lord regardless of the circumstances. And I want to thank her for that, because that's really helped my ministry. So give thanks in all circumstances. We can look at Paul in prison and the way he was. And I mean, he was in, what did he have to thank God for in that dungeon? But he always looked beyond those bars and saw the stars. And that's where we need to be. Look beyond the bars and see the stars. And I've said before, when you see a dandelion growing out of a crack in a pavement, a lot of people will look on that and tread on it, or pick it up and toss it. But if you were in prison and you had a tiny weeny gap in the bars and all you could see was one dandelion growing out in the crack in the courtyard, you would no longer see it as a weed. You would see that as a yellow flower. And that's the difference. That's the positive in a weed. There's always a positive. It's like we say, is a cup half full or is it half empty? So don't give up thanking the Lord for everything. Okay, so that's my version. One of the things that Steve Voss, look at your brain. All good people, all good ministers or leaders are called Steve. Stephen Furtick said, and I really love this illustration, and I want to share it with you. He was talking about Christmas. Now, as we know, it's September, and the next thing is going to be Christmas. And he was talking about his kids. And you know what it is this time of year, they start going through the Argos book. Well, it used to be Argos book, now it's just tablet, tick, 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 all the things they want for Christmas. And he gave this great illustration, your kids, I want. And he said, what we need to do is take photos of everything that we've bought for our children over their lifetime and put them on a sheet of paper and say to them, look, this is what you have already had. Our children are always looking, or we are always looking for the next thing. And he's saying, look what you've already had. We've had so much. Are we thankful for what we've had? When at this time of year, everyone's looking, I want this, I need this. And he was saying, put it all down. This is what you've had so far. Be thankful for what you've got. And I just thought that was a really good take on, and it would save you a lot of money as well. The thing that I find really helpful is to, and I know you all know that I do this, but I write down a lot of ABC and then write down things to do with God. And this morning when Steve was preaching, I wrote down an ABC of things that we can give thanks for within our church. And it's surprising when you come in, well, this morning I was thinking, right, okay, can I get 26 things written down with every letter of the alphabet to do with church? But I did, and it didn't take me very long. I did A was for armchairs, we have great seats to sit on. B is for Bibles, which of course we all need at home as well as in church. C was for communion, which we shared this morning. D is for dramas, the ones on the stage. E is for we eat together on a regular basis. F is for fellowship and the family that we are together. G is for God is in the house. H is for we try to make our church homely. And I is for instruments that we used this morning. G is for Jesus is in the house. K is for kindness. Now I hope that when people come into church that we share kindness with them, because one of the things Jesus was kind. L is for love, but not man's love, obviously God's love. M is for messy church. N, I really struggle with N. And in the end, I put down normal people. Haha. But basically, what I meant was the church is for people, the average Joe Bloggs off the street. You don't have to be special to walk through the door. O is for to be open with each other and keep sharing with each other. P is for prayer and praising. Q is for quiet time, and Steve spoke this morning about being still. And that's time to reflect and have that time with God. R is for refreshments, which we do well at Highfield. S is for songs and for sharing. T is for together, that we come together, and for teaching. U is for united in our faith. V is for vases, for the beautiful flowers. W is for worship. X is for be expectant on the Lord and excited. Y is for young people. That is something we need to pray for, because without young people, where will the church be? The future of the church be? And Z is for sleep. Some people do that in this church, yes. So, and I've done loads of these ABCs, all different ones, but basically they're all thank you notes to God for everything that He's given to us. And I wrote down to remember something that Dave Tapp said, that in our being thankful, just get on with it. If you've got a pain, if you've got an ache, just get on with it. Work your way through it. Spoken to Steve and Liz a bit this week, especially Steve's been poorly, and he said it's working through what you've got. You know, you can sit and mumble and grumble, but that isn't going to change the situation, but you can change that situation. Like the guy, when he woke up out of bed, you can decide what sort of day you're going to have before your feet have touched the ground. You know, when you get out of bed, you may have a busy day ahead, but you've got a warm bed you've just got out of, you've got carpet or flooring, you've got water. We've got so many things to be thankful for. And, you know, I just think that's just an amazing thing when you're a Christian. We have so much to thank God for. And the other person that I'm going to not embarrass is Jackie Fowler. Life for Jackie at the moment, as we all know, is difficult, and she has a lot, being a carer of not just one person but two people, in and out of hospitals, appointments, just everything that goes with being a mum of 5 and millions of grandchildren and everything. But the thing is with Jackie, you never hear her complaining. She's always coming in, thanking the Lord. She's the first one up here when we're sharing, giving thanks to God. She eats, breathes and lives Jesus in her heart, with thanksgiving in her heart. And again, she's another person that I look to and I think, the Lord is in her eyes, in her life. Because through all, you know, Jackie could get up and have a list of things to moan about, but she doesn't. And I know none of us are perfect, and I'm sure she has the odd moment when she does have a moan, but she's got a thankful heart, and that again is what makes her, you look at Jackie, she's a happy person. And yet the average Jackie with that life would not be that happy. You see Jesus in her eyes. And I just want to thank the Lord that there are people within this church that we look to, and we've all got different giftings. You know, when Liz and I went to yours, but it was great. But obviously we missed Steve. You know, there's no way that music was the same without him. You know, he's got an amazing ministry, and we missed him. We got through it, and we had to use different gifts that perhaps we wouldn't have done. But, you know, we've got, each and every one of us have got amazing gifts. And I said on Tuesday night, you know, I could go around the room. Ian, you know, bless his heart, when we had the Messy Church fun day, the grass was cut front and back, the coffee, you know, the teapots, the coffee pots are filled on a Sunday. He works behind the scenes. I mean, we've got so much to be thankful for. And I've said, Trisha's got a new ministry that I hope she's going to share in a minute when we do testimonies. So I'll hold on to that one. And Dave This church smells nice on a Sunday morning because of Dave. Trust me. He goes around with a shh in this church and makes it smell nice, and he does a lot of behind the scenes job. And you know, we could thank Jackie and for Jan too, and for her ministry, that she doesn't realise God's going to use her in a powerful and mighty way. She's writing messages, and he's definitely going to use her more and more. And it's great. I'm not going to forget you, Dina. It's great to have you with us. And I think the Lord has got. I think you should do that street pastor thing. I think you'll be good. Anyway, and Steve, obviously, bless him. He's great. So
He's just a rev.
he's a rev, yeah. He'll do.
I think he'll pass.
So that's enough of me rabbiting on. So if any of you have got any testimonies, especially praise, thanksgiving testimonies that you want to share, then please